In the crowded parking lot of a shopping mall in suburban San Diego, under the California sun, Jallen Bennett had just maneuvered his neat sedan into an empty spot. He needed to be quick. The interview for the senior security manager position, a crucial step in his transition to civilian life, was about to start. He, a black man in his late 30s with a fit build and a calm demeanor that required conscious self-control honed after years in the Navy SEALs. A control he knew was necessary to defy stereotypes, had just turned off his engine when a white woman, Jennifer Clarke, well-dressed but with a furious expression, approached. "Excuse me?" Jennifer said sharply, her tone entitled. "I was waiting for this spot." "I didn't see anyone waiting or signaling," Jallen replied, his voice even, maintaining his practiced calm. The spot was empty. "Don't play dumb," Jennifer snapped, her voice venomous. "Another thug thinking he can do whatever he wants. People like you are ruining this country. People like me." Jallen felt the familiar heat rise but clamped down on it hard. He knew this type. He just looked at her, his gaze steady, unreadable. He slowly got out of his car. "People like me? What exactly does that mean? I just parked my car. You're the one shouting in the middle of a parking lot." Jennifer scoffed, moving closer, invading Jallen's personal space. "Oh, you think you're tough? Think you're some kind of hero?" She poked him hard in the chest twice with her finger. "My husband is coming," her voice lowered, malicious, "and he's going to teach you a lesson." "Ma'am," Jallen said, ignoring the pokes, focusing on keeping his tone neutral. "You're having a meltdown and assaulting me over a parking spot. You should reconsider." Jennifer laughed bitterly. "The military's a joke. Just a bunch of government pawns fighting for a paycheck, not freedom." The words hit Jallen, a blatant insult to what he and his comrades had endured. A tightening in his jaw was the only outward sign of anger, but his expression remained controlled. Seeing this, Jennifer pressed further and suddenly slapped him hard across the face. The sharp sound echoed, drawing attention. Instantly, several phones were raised, cold lenses documenting everything instead of intervening. Jennifer panted, a triumphant smirk on her face when Jallen didn't react immediately. "That's more like it," she whispered. Jallen slowly turned his head back to face her, his eyes now dangerously cold, his control stretched taut. "You shouldn't have done that." Just then, Kevin Clarke's large SUV screeched to a halt nearby. Kevin, Jennifer's husband, a large man but looking out of shape, his face flushed, jumped out. "Hey, get away from my wife! What the hell did you do?" Jennifer immediately played the victim, her voice trembling. "Kevin! He attacked me! He was trying to—" "Your wife assaulted me multiple times after screaming racist remarks at me because she wanted this parking spot," Jallen interrupted, his voice even but firm. He glanced at the phone still recording. "There are witnesses and cameras. I know how this can look." Kevin glanced around, saw the phones pointed at them. He hesitated for a moment, then puffed out his chest. "Are you calling my wife a liar?" Kevin shoved Jallen hard, but Jallen barely moved. Kevin threw a clumsy punch. Jallen easily blocked it, deflected a second punch, using Kevin's own momentum to send him stumbling back. "Hit him, Kevin!" Jennifer screamed. She lunged at Jallen, nails out. Jallen sidestepped smoothly. Jennifer tripped over her own feet, crying out as she sprawled on the asphalt. Kevin, enraged, charged again, throwing a wild haymaker. Jallen ducked under it, pivoted, and delivered a precise jab to Kevin's jaw. Kevin's eyes rolled back. He crumpled to the ground unconscious. A brief silence fell. Jennifer scrambled to her feet, saw her husband on the ground, and pointed at Jallen, shouting to the gathering crowd, "He assaulted us! He attacked my husband! Somebody call 911! He's dangerous!" Someone in the crowd spoke up, a firm voice cutting through Jennifer's cries. "Hey, lady, we saw the whole thing. You slapped him first. Your husband threw the first punch." Several others nodded in agreement. Jennifer's expression shifted from panic to anger, then hardened. An idea sparked. She quickly grabbed a nearby rock. Kevin groaned, starting to come to. "Get up! Get up! Let's go!" Jennifer urged, helping her husband up. Kevin was still dazed. As they stumbled towards their SUV, Kevin saw Jallen's car. Fueled by humiliation and his wife's urging, he snatched the rock and threw it straight at Jallen's driver's side window. The glass shattered, sparkling fragments catching the sun. They jumped into the SUV and sped off. Moments later, on a suburban road, the Clarke's SUV swerved recklessly, nearly sideswiping another car changing lanes. Inside, Jennifer was gesturing wildly, screaming at Kevin. Jallen's sedan followed, not too close, not too far, but maintaining speed with tense, unnerving precision. He had to end this, but he also had to protect his career prospects. The SUV approached a T intersection. The light ahead was red. Cars were stopped. Panicked, Kevin tried to swerve left at the last second to flee. Jallen, seeming to anticipate it, smoothly maneuvered his car to block the turn, leaving Kevin no room. Kevin had to slam on the brakes, crashing into the rear of a stopped car ahead. The shriek of metal on metal echoed. The airbags in the Clarke's vehicle deployed. Jallen calmly pulled over nearby. Smoke rose from the crashed SUV. Jennifer was screaming inside, clutching her face. Kevin stumbled, trying to open his door. Jallen approached quickly, yanked the driver's door open. He pulled Kevin out as if he weighed nothing. Kevin struggled weakly. "Let go of me." Jallen gave him a firm shove. Kevin stumbled backward, tripped, and hit his head on the pavement. He was unconscious again. Jallen turned back, his cold gaze falling on Jennifer, who sat frozen in the passenger seat, horrified. I didn't do anything," she stammered. "It was him. Kevin! He threw the rock! You saw!" Jallen just raised an eyebrow. He reached into the car, unbuckled Jennifer's seatbelt, and pulled her out. She struggled and screamed hysterically. "Let go of me! Assault! Police!" Jallen easily held her wrist, turning her to face the approaching sirens. 2 police cars arrived, lights flashing. 2 officers got out, hands near their belts. They saw Jallen holding a distraught, weeping Jennifer. "Sir, let her go! Put your hands where we can see them!" The first officer ordered, his initial tone somewhat harsh and suspicious. "He attacked us. He tried to kill my husband. He ran us off the road." Jennifer shrieked, playing the victim role to the hilt. Jallen slowly released Jennifer, raising his hands chest high, palms out, his expression still calm but a tension visible in his eyes. "Officers, she and her husband assaulted me in the parking lot after she screamed racist slurs at me. They fled after smashing my car window. I followed to get their plate information to report them. They caused this accident themselves, trying to escape recklessly. There were multiple witnesses and security cameras at the mall." The first officer looked at Jallen searchingly, then at Jennifer's over-the-top act, at the unconscious Kevin and the crash scene. The second officer had quickly spoken to witnesses stopped nearby. He turned back to his partner. Witnesses confirm most of his story. They say she slapped him first. The husband threw the first punch. Then they threw a rock through his window and fled. The crash definitely looks like they panicked. The first officer's demeanor shifted noticeably, becoming more professional. He turned to Jennifer, his voice firm. "Ma'am, I need you to calm down. We need your statement." Jennifer's tears stopped abruptly. Her eyes flashed with anger and panic as she realized the tables had completely turned. She screamed at Jallen, "You think you're better than me? You think you've won?" Jallen just looked at her, paused, letting the silence amplify her bitter words. "Are you finished?" Jennifer fell silent, panting, speechless. In addition to the witnesses, Jallen told the police, his voice clear, "My car has a dash cam. It recorded the entire initial assault, the rock throwing, their reckless escape, and my pursuit." Jennifer's jaw dropped in horror. Her face turned pale. The two officers exchanged a look. The first officer nodded. "Ma'am, you need to come with us." "Him too," he said, indicating Kevin. "We'll have paramedics check him out. You could be facing charges for assault, vandalism, and reckless driving. We'll also note the hate speech allegations." Then he turned to Jallen, his voice now respectful. "Sir, we'll need that footage and a full statement from you. You'll be free to go once we have your information." Jallen gave a curt nod. He surveyed the wreckage, his own car's shattered window, the Clarke's crumpled SUV, the couple being dealt with by the police. He took a deep breath, a mix of relief and weariness washing over him. Justice was being served, but the cost, the missed interview, the damaged car, the sheer stress remained. He stood tall, his control and dignity intact.